Uh, felt okily dokily. We went 4-1 with it yesterday. Hopefully we'll have some kind of similar performance with it today. But who knows? Hey, Chris. What is the haps? Some kind of like weird green slime on my computer desk. Oh. Oh Lord, you guys can't see anything. Uh. Actually, I guess you can't see everything. There we go. Put it on this one. Still down to 3 approaches in this list because honestly I don't know how to work the 4th one in. I actually want the 4th Effer Meltdown as well, but don't know how to work either of them in the deck, so rip. Maybe I could play like no meltdowns. Hey George. Hey James. What it is. We'll keep. Hand is on the medium side of medium. Start with a plains. 1 and 2, George. You up early to watch the Vintage Championships? The Dumbo in the house. Making them monies. Probably going to want this land this game. I'm a little more interested in the Legacy than I am just watching a bunch of Shops decks play versus each other, so I'll hopefully get the stream done in time to watch Legacy. So our Game 1 match versus Timur is incredible. That card's good enough to counterspell, but quite honestly, any card was good enough to counterspell. If we had a land in our hand, we'd also counterspell any drop this game. Hey, JB Twist 1992. How are you? That can resolve. Land? Land a clock. Exclamation mark deck list should show you the deck list we're playing today. In 2 forms, picture form and detailed text. Whichever is more suitable to you. That is Natun with the Ether. No creature? Well, what a glorious day. Not me as counterspells main then. Well, we'll certainly put that on top, and we'll certainly put that on bottom. And then we'll play best card in deck. This is game 1 of round 1, Kim. No problem, JB Twist. We are here to please. Probably counterspell nearly anything he plays that's even mildly threatening. I believe that it's probably good enough. I do not think that it is mandatory. I think it probably deserves a spot on the deck, but like I'm not offended when I don't see people play it. It's one of the cards that makes me really like my mono red match, and it's one of the cards that's really very good versus like Long Tusk Cubs, but like It's pretty medium versus blue-black control. It's pretty medium versus tokens. So like, it really depends on what you think your meta is going to be. Yeah, it's not about whether it gets destroyed or not. It's going to die in most games. It's about how much damage it prevents before it dies. So like, say you're playing versus a red deck and you tick it up and you like stop a Earthshaker Kenra from attacking, and then he attacks it and immediately kills it. It still prevented 6 points of damage, which is huge. Like it's just a way to stall the game to get to your wraths. But like it's not great versus every deck. For example, it's just not great versus tokens. It's not great versus blue-black control. It's pretty good in the mirror because you just ultimate it, and then they have to have like a cast out to answer it. But yeah. How much time are you going to be live? However long the league takes. So versus these matches, I always bring in the Caracols. I think it's nice to have a little alternate win condition versus them, and I also think some of the negates are kind of reasonable. But like, the negates aren't good, and the cards that I used to sideboard out aren't in our deck anymore. So like, really don't know how to sideboard now. So I'm probably just not going to bring the negates in. I'm probably going to shave a couple Supreme Wills. Huh. Kind of interesting. I think on the draw I'm going to cut one land. The play, I'll probably put the land back. I believe it's the same name. There's links to it below the Twitch stream. Do I have a red blacklist? I do, but I didn't tune it or anything. It's just, I'll pop it up so you can press screenshot or save screen or whatever. All it is Megaphone's list that Zen used to top 8 the New Zealand Nationals. Like, I've made no changes. I've not played it enough to change it any yet. But go ahead and pop a screenshot out if you want it. Print screen or whatever. It's a pretty fun deck, and I enjoy it, but it actually just get you a link to it as well, I guess. I have a link to it somewhere. And if you didn't screenshot it, there's your link. I'm Mr. Useful. So I'm not going to cycle the Censor for the sole fact that he didn't play a 3-drop, so like the Censor will be good versus his 4-drops or his 5-drops or whatever. Hey, Seawill. What is up? That is my granny's name. Go ahead and get the value out of a Censor while we can. My granny is a wonderful lady, by the way. I do my best, but I make a lot of play errors, and I don't focus. But I appreciate it. I'm trying to get better. Hopefully, I'll get better over time if I keep doing this. It's got to be honest, it's slightly hard to avoid the burnout at the moment, though. Do I care about a Death Scourge Scavenger? Probably not. It doesn't attack very hard. Hey, MTG Lexicon, thank you kindly. We appreciate the love. So since opponent's not really playing creatures, I'm just assuming they have like multiple negates in their hands, so we're going to have to try to navigate this game fairly cautiously. I would not negate a Glimmer unless I had 3+ negates. So that's kind of interesting. So either he views the game differently than I do, or he has just a ton of negates. I follow his Twitch. I don't think I follow his Twitter. I watch him occasionally. I tipped him $5 to sing a song on his karaoke once. Hey, Midnight Pearl. What is the happening? I actually think that's good enough to counterspell because it replaces itself. So, like, I have to try to counterspell it or it's a guaranteed 2-for-1. Did Jody Keefe go to Eternal Weekend? Oh, I mean, that's not surprising to me. I don't want to be rude to him, but that does not surprise me. He's a nice guy, though. I enjoy his stream. It's like something in my eye that's burning like crap. XM5's pretty savage. That's a real card. I don't like real cards being played. That's peculiar. Ooh, if he's got a counterspell, he might counterspell this one. Settle to Wreckage and Ascanta. That seems like two reasonable cards. So at the moment we are keeping on, keeping on. Saving the other cast out because he's already showed us Scarab Gods. We're definitely playing Settle this turn. Assume it gets counterspelled because, again, he wasted this negate pretty early. So it's fair to say that he either A, has an amazing follow-up, or B, has a negate. The fact that he didn't negate that doesn't make me necessarily think he doesn't have negate. It just makes me think he has, like, possibly a Scarab God or something, and that he would rather resolve to spend his mana on a negate. Or I could be entirely wrong. Who knows? Life's a garden. Dig it. It made me smile. I've not smiled in years. Field a rune to the graveyard? I actually don't think I want to put the field a rune in the graveyard. Also don't want it, so that's kind of odd. I guess I will not put it in the graveyard because it plays around. It plays around him having a negate there. That's fine with me. We're going to Supreme Will even if he casts a god. Okay. Well, that hits pretty hard. That's a... I guess we'll take the Fumigate then. What goes to our graveyard this turn? Rivulet definitely to the graveyard. Hopefully he won't be too annoying. He gets fairly salty. Probably not. It's modern, isn't it? Any card but an approach I'll put in the graveyard in this spot. Just because I want to flip Dascanta that badly. I still probably won't watch it. Star City coverage has gone down a lot in my estimation. Alright, that's a Bristling Hydra. Got 4 more Rafts in our deck, and we have active Ascanthus, so. Oh, and we just have a lot of chump blockers. I may watch like day 2 or some of the top 8, but I probably won't watch day 1. We kind of have to take the approach because there's only 3 approaches in the deck, so. Which mana do we have? Can we guarantee draw to approach and play it next turn? I believe we can. 4, 5, 6. Yep, we can. So if I mill myself this turn, then I spend that getting it back, I would only have 4, 5, 6 mana. So I guess we can't. Interesting. Alright. Well, opponent has to have something. So this is 4 cards down. Go ahead and take the Censor. 5 cards is our draw step. 6 cards is a cycle. 7 cards is a cycle, so we're drawing the approach now. And let's see if it resolves. Leaving the Field of Runes untapped so I can shuffle the approach that's on the bottom of my deck back in. Well, I guess we'll pay 2 then. Maybe he's got double Spell Pierce? He does in fact have double Spell Pierce. Not sure why he's not been attacking with the Bristling Hydra. He didn't attack with the Bristling Hydra again. I guess we'll just raw dog 1 Censor. Hey, Searsus. I'm doing great. Wait, I'm Searsus. Hey, Tomo. I'm doing great. How are you? God, I can't talk. So, we know one of our approaches is like the 27th card down in our deck. So we're just going to go ahead and use this for just value. No other real reason than to get that card off the bottom of my deck. Not punished. Probably just win by attacking at this point, but there's no reason for us to try to attack. Probably not anytime particularly soon. I'm running low on tickets at the moment, so I'll probably be in tryhard mode the next couple of days. Probably be playing a lot of blue-white approach over this next week. I know I'm going to do at least 1 legacy stream this week. I committed myself to that. Somebody asked me to, even though I have absolutely no idea how to lose legacy, and I know I'm just throwing away money, or have no idea how to play legacy. I know I'm throwing away money doing it, but someone asked, I shall deliver. Also consider doing 1 vintage stream. This hand's very reasonable. Probably 4-color Leovold. George, are you going to the IQ in Bristol today? Oh, look, it's worst match. Should get paired versus this between 1 and 2 times of the league, so can't be too disgruntled that we got paired versus it. Would have liked to have got paired versus it when we were on to play at least, but that's fun. Man, I would go to every event in that store if I lived an hour from it like you. Rip. He's got a 1-2. If he's got a 3, we're completely out. Pretty much out of it anyway, because we can't really deal with the Beaumont Courier. I mean, he could have a miserable, miserable draw, and then we'd have some percentage chance to get there, but it's very unlikely. Like, exceedingly unlikely. He would have to have, like, no burn spell, no 3-drop. Or no, he would have to have no play on turn 3. The odds of him having no play seem highly unlikely. Any play at all, even like a shock, would be very bad. And there was a shock. There's 2 shocks. Oh, rip. At least we do have a Supreme Will if he has Land Hazard. So you somehow have to survive up to 10 more turns. I guess that's step 1, finding one of these. Step 2 is living long enough to play it. Step 2 is harder than step 1. Especially if they have more burn spells. Because remember, he gets to reset his hand and draw 5 cards of that bad boy. And we still have 3 more turns. Like, 4 turns is our earliest kill at this point. Like, the very best we can do. I would have probably popped that thing and drew some cards at that point. Don't really want either of you. There's another Supreme Will. I guess that does something. Not another Lightning Strike. Oh, God. So our opponent had 10 points of burn, which was unfortunate, but it's actually good for us. Opponent having 10 points of burn was actually good for us. As insane as that sounds. Because that lowers his chance. Like, creatures deal damage every turn, right? A burn spell just deals damage that turn. We don't have to fade much to have a chance here. Like, another counterspell next turn would go a long damn way to giving us a chance. Or like a cast out or something. Him not drawing a burn spell in these next 6 cards is vital too. Sorry, next 7 cards. It's like absolutely vital he doesn't draw a burn spell in these 7 cards if we want any chance to win. That's a burn spell. Rip. But we have to play this one. Alright, well, if he has a burn spell, we're dead. If he doesn't have a burn spell, we probably win. And by burn spell, it can be Ramyanap runes as well. Please don't have more burn in your hand. You've already dealt 11 to us with direct damage. I think we would actually won this game versus his hand on the play. Well, he had 13 points of direct damage. There's no way we can interact with that. It's pretty unfortunate since direct damage is actually very horrible versus us. But it might encourage him to not sideboarding no mount, which is very good versus us. Because we want him to leave every burn spell in his deck. When in reality, he should be taking out every single burn spell except for a few lightning strikes. Alright, this hand's just good enough to keep, but it's pretty bad. So we need to fade a Beaumont Courier. That's step one. Alright, well, we failed at step one. Step two is draw some lands. Preferably untapped white sources. Well, drawing a 7-drop, that is quite the opposite of drawing a land. Forward of the councils would be nice as well. I mean, it's a Tron deck. Sometimes they just run well. So, this is big black-green Tron's better than Eldrazi Tron, and look how Eldrazi Tron does. Well, we have to find lands is the only reason we're cycling this. Not a land. If we don't find lands, we're going to be a little tilted, especially since we're playing 26. Oh, it's got to counterspell it. I could probably take the damage if I had a land, but since we don't have a land, I can't. There is so much noise coming in from my other room that I have no idea what they're talking about. See, like, he should sideboard these out, and he missed a point of damage even if he was going to keep it. Anything, even like the Pias and bad cards in your deck, are better than this. Sure? That's kind of unfortunate because now that means it's correct to try to hit the Fumigate. Well, he did not sack Beaumont Courier, so that means the last card in his hand is either Hazoret or Chandra. Which is not the worst thing that can happen considering we have a Regal Caracol, but like it's certainly not the best thing. So drop to 11. Really want to find a land here. That's actually a good enough one. This gives us several blockers, and they can gain life. It also stops the Soul Shaker from being able to attack, or the Soul Scar from being able to attack. Well, apparently it does not stop the Soul Scar from being able to attack. That's kind of interesting. I have no idea what's in his hand. Also, don't care. Guess he has a lightning strike. He kills this. This dies for 3. Just block like that and not care, I guess. Sure. Just block like that and not care. I still gain 4 life either way and have a blocker for the hazard on the following turn if I do it that way. Yeah, well, we have a Settle to Wreckage and an Effort Meltdown. Didn't attack, which is great. Just looking for the land at the moment. Found a land. Actually going to keep the land. Gives him a not great attack. So we go to 20 here. We have 1 blocker. He needs a land. And now we just have to survive 7 or less turns. Seven or less turns. Second Chandra's huge. Oh god. Or sorry, a Chandra is huge. It's not a second. Yeah. Down to 15. So we're 6 cards away from being able to win. And he's 2 turns away from being able to ultimate. I think opponent had a reasonable draw this game, but he had 2 shocks. Again, if those 2 shocks were just any creature, we lose. Excuse me. Let's take a drink here. Well, alright. Just melt down that then. Save to settle. Land? That's not a land. Alright, well. That kind of puts us in a rough spot. We know that the win is 4 cards down. Sorry. 5 cards down. So, like, we know we can draw it next turn, but we don't know if we'll draw to land. I have to see how he attacks to figure out what we're going to do on our turn. But we're getting low enough that we may have to risk it to try to obtain some kind of biscuit. It's like pretty hard to guarantee we get 4 turns from here. Especially if this on 7 already. It's kind of interesting. I guess he's going to go for the kill on our thing. Let's go ahead and give him a bunch of lands then. So now we're going to have to beat a Chandra Ultimate. If we rival it, we don't necessarily hit the land. It's probably still right to rival it. He only gets to play one card next turn, so... So we know what we're drawing. And we know we can't deal 14 damage in one turn, and we're not going to let this ultimate. Man, we know he can't deal 14 damage while hell-bent in one turn. The max he can deal 7. The max he could deal even with the Chandra Ultimate would have been 10. He knows we have approach, so I don't know why he's going through these motions. I guess he didn't do the math or something. I have no idea. He seems to be trying awful hard for someone who's dead. Alright, well, now we have to win the Fabled Game 3 on the draw. Ugh, vomit. He didn't draw any dinos, which was good for us. I don't think we changed anything from the play to the draw. Ascanta's still too slow. Negates aren't good enough. Torrential Gearhulks are too slow. Hey, Valley, NYC, what's up, man? Glimmers are good in certain spots, like that previous game Glimmer would have been good, but usually Glimmer's not good. Because you don't normally get to cast Glimmer till like turn 6 or 7, which makes Supreme Will a slightly better tutor. Sensor's better on the draw than it is on the play. Actually, that's not even true. It's just good on both. And it cycles early. Yeah, we're just going to run this back. I wonder if we could ever just win this game with like taking all the approaches out and just bringing in the Gearhulks. What do we have? A very, very slow hand. Alright. I would not keep this hand if it wasn't for the cast out. The cycle clause on the cast out is the main reason we kept this hand. Hey Dan, what's up, man? Hope you're having a wondrous day. Best 2-drop. We hit our best 2-drop. If only we were on the play. We'd probably be a big favorite to win this game if we were on the play. Winning on the draw without an authority of the council is nearly impossible, though. I wonder if it's ever right to cycle the Censor there just to see if we can hit an authority because we need it that badly. I read that 3 times before I figured out what you were saying. I thought that said not much getting to the baby to giraffe. Instead of Gettys, I read giraffe. Wow, I'm an idiot. There's another showdown thing today, Dan. Whew, well, that's not a great draw in this spot, but it's not a horrible draw either. Bonus seems to be giving us a lot of respect for cards that I wouldn't respect. He seems to be playing around Censors and playing around Settles when I just wouldn't. Alright, well, we're down to 14. And we're down to 13. Effective 9 life because he's got 2 deserts in play. See what I mean? He just seems to be playing around things. That's fine. I nearly bet that he doesn't attack with the Ferocity this turn, just based on how he's playing. Which is why we saved the cast out, by the way. Another shock, which shouldn't be in his deck, but that's fine. Can't take the damage here. It's just too much. And if he has like a follow-up Chandra, we're in super bad shape. We're in pretty bad shape as it is. Like I said, you have to have an authority to really win these matches. We do not have an authority, as one can see. And it was best follow-up, of course. Had to be that one. Couldn't be a different one. It's kind of interesting. Can't really play it with this in play. Can't really fumigate this either. Can't really cast out that. What do you do when you can't do anything? Like, all of these plays are bad. So we're at an effective 2 life right now. So basically, if he has anything that can deal damage, we lose. We actually lost a triple shock. Alright. Well, sometimes you just lose when your opponents play poorly. But like I said, this is an unfavorable match anyway. We're not supposed to beat this match, so... We are supposed to beat that match when opponents are sideboarding very incorrectly. And we would have won that match on the play pretty easily. But if we had the exact same draws and we were on the play and they were on the draw, we win. Probably win all 3 games. Yeah, I just don't know how to beat the mono red matches. Like, you literally cannot beat them without this card. And you have to draw this card early. Like, even drawing that card late in the game doesn't do anything. Soskar's Champion doesn't do much either, because between Dinoing their 8 ways to make it not block and what few lightning strikes they bring in, like, it may not do anything the entire game. It may not even gain a point of life or block. Because, like, when you just use a shock on me, you deal 2 damage, right? So, like, if I'm ever ahead of you, if you're not way ahead of me, just doing 2 damage doesn't do much. Like, you need to be able to do repeated damage. If you draw every burn spell in your deck, this is a league, yeah. If you draw every burn spell in your deck, it just doesn't do much. It's just so impactful, or so unimpactful. Like, even a 1-drop, just a random 1-drop will do more than 2 damage over the course of, like, 3 turns. Hey, Rudolph. Oh, by the way, hello, Malapip. Like, for example, that last game, had we drawn an authority of the council, those shocks would have been so ineffectual because he wouldn't have had enough consistent damage to win. Never mulliganing a hand in my life that has 2 lands and Azcanta on the play versus a blind opponent. I didn't even look at the rest of the hand. I got to be honest. I would keep 6 lands and an Azcanta on the play versus a blind opponent. Like he's a favorite in the match, right? And we didn't draw our sideboard cards either. So, like, well, we drew one of them, but we didn't draw the sideboard card we care about. And, like, he barely got there. Like, if we were on the play, I think we win that game. I legitimately think we would have won that game on the play. Glimmer in the Graveyard? Probably not. They're a slow enough deck. Timur and the Sultai decks and all those are slow enough that we can usually get a Glimmer Elf. And this is one of the reasons that Gideon's so great when you're on the play. Yeah, Ascanta's insane. By the way, hello, Blablor. I don't think I've saw you before. It's not necessarily burn. You can keep a couple lightning strikes in because they're good versus the cat, but like shocks just don't do much at all. Snap, put that in the graveyard. Go ahead and whack that thing. It's just the shocks that's so bad. Like the lightning strikes aren't terrible because they have other uses. The shocks just don't really do anything. Like you have to be on the play and a mile ahead for them to do anything at all, and then like that's still not a lot. I think it's worth it to go ahead and melt down here. Protecting Gideon for as long as protecting the Gideon for as long as we can is wow. He's got main deck blossoming defense, so he's probably the Sultai build. Well, that's kind of unfortunate. The Sultai build's a lot harder to beat than the Timur build. A sensor in the graveyard, snap sensor to the graveyard. Alright, well we need lands and we don't have lands, so that's unfortunate. We are playing 26 lands, by the way. I guess I could have used a meltdown on my turn, but I just assumed he was Timur, so I kind of played poorly. But some of the Timur decks even do play blossoming defense, so that's probably an oversight on my behalf. It's like probably a play error by me. Do I want to give him more lands? He like has 6 cards in hand. Whatever, I'll take the damage. I'd rather use the Glimmer. He is Timur. Timur with Heart of Kirin's. It's kind of interesting. Can't imagine that being good. Yeah, like I said, it's probably a play mistake for me. It's a reasonable card, and I see them in several Timur lists. Planes in the graveyard. Unfortunately, yes, just because I kind of want to flip this. And I kind of want to find a Fumigate. As long as he doesn't have a Bristling Hydra, we're in pretty good shape, though. How does what work out? I'm not actually sure what that was in reference to. So he's not attacking with the heart this time. Still just attacking with those. That's fine. Which means he doesn't have a counter spell. I'm not sure what we're talking about. I'm sorry, I'm confused. Home drawing 3 of these is kind of bad for us too because they replace each other. Anyway, so this flips this turn no matter what. Yeah, that's a lot of 4-drops and stuff. Fumigate my graveyard? Nope, we'll keep that one. Yes, we'll transform that. Yes, we'll draw. I could play the second Search for Ascanta, but I would rather keep that for Meltdown to try to protect us from some points of life total, I guess. That's true, but you see some lists, like this list had Blossoming Defense, so he's already using most of his flex slots, I think, but you see some lists that use, I think we're going to lose this game. You see some lists that use Spell Pierce, some that use Supreme Will. I think we're going to lose this game. I think we're too far behind. This thing can attack for 8? It's a 2-turn clock by itself. So if he's got another blossoming defense, we're probably in pretty bad shape. Alright, well that was helpful. Like Seth Mansfield's national list had one Supreme Will in the main deck, so that's just kind of common at this point. Oh god. Well, we're really dead. We can just draw another Fumigate. That's not a Fumigate. So 4/8 plus 5. 4/8 plus 5 is 13, so I guess we don't play the Search for Azcanta here. We hope to hit one of our 2 settled wreckages that are left in the deck with this Azcanta. See how much damage he's going to try to do. He just wants to do 10. Take the settle. It's unfortunate that an 40 is going to the bottom, but yeah, I feel like if you are going to make that attack, you need to have like a Whirler Virtuoso behind. He did not have a Whirler Virtuoso, it doesn't look like. So we can use this Field of Runes to shuffle that approach back in. That was a pretty good one. Sure. I guess we'll start with this. Just take the 3. So opponents drawn between 0 and 1 removal spell, which is pretty rare for those decks. Oops. Might need to cycle something. I can't cycle that. Farmland to the graveyard, snap yes, snap no one to transform. Draws the card. See if we hit a Fumigate. So bad at tapping lands properly. Amoto. Neither of those are Fumigates. So we're potentially going to 7 here. We've put 9 cards on the bottom of our deck now, so 26 cards our 2 approaches are, and 2 more Fumigates are. Let's start with this. Because we could hit another Effer Meltdown. So 11 cards to the bottom. Alright, we hit an approach. I think we're safe now. Yeah, we're safe. Just in case he does have negates or something, we're going to go ahead and go through the steps by playing our other spells. Uh, Take the cast out. That's a just in case. Alright. Hey, Henry. Thank you for the follow, man. So again versus Timur, I don't really sideboard much. I literally just bring in cats, and that's practically all I ever bring in this match. I typically take out like some number of Supreme Wills and or Glimmers and stuff. I'm gonna take this land out on the draw actually. And for meltdowns are good, the sensors are good. We have a 26 land on the draw. I think we can afford to take one out. Could be reasonable to take one Search for Ascanta out on the draw as well. Let's try one of those out on the draw. Hey, Blablor, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. I changed the main deck so much that it's really hard to have like a set sideboard stone in plan. Like I'm just trying a different mix of cards almost every match. As you notice, we sideboarded differently this match as we did match one, and it was, we're versus Timur both of these matches. It's just about experiment until we find the exact right combination. KL1Mon, thank you for the follow. And my battery power is at 1%. We need to put our cell on charge, I believe. Of course, I tapped the wrong mana, because that's what Searsuses do. Hi, I'm Searsus. For those who didn't know. Heart Akurin. You rarely ever sideboard out a sensor or anything because, one, they're actually just good, but two, you can very reasonably and very often hit things. We need a land. Yeah, we need to land bad enough that we're going to cycle this too. We still have the Supreme Wills to try to crack whatever his play is. Oh, that's good enough to try to counterspell. Mainly because it replaces itself. Let's see what land he shows us. Island, and that's the land he played, so... Land? Hey, we're back online. Opponent has 3 cards in hand, and we have 3 Wrath of Gods in our hand. Yeah, approach has been pretty fun. It's unfortunate that we kind of have to let that one resolve. Timur's the deck we've had the most win, or the best win percentage with. We win right around 80% with this deck. Do I want to take 4 points of damage here? Yeah, I think it's fine. I think I'd rather Supreme Will and look for a land. Oh man, I love the sensors. Well, we hit lands. Caracol on the bottom. It has 3 cards in hand. What's the right play then? Whatever. We'll play this. He may be able to counterspell it, but if we draw a land next turn, we have mana for Settle and Search. We have a high enough life total that I think it's fine to play it. If he doesn't have a second negate, we'll probably win. If he has a second negate, we'll probably lose. Is where we're at in this game. I wonder if it's better just to play the Regal Caracol. Yeah, well, we didn't draw the land, so if he has a second negate, we're going to lose. But then again, we missed multiple land drops, so of course we're going to lose. If we don't, you know. Oh, opponent doesn't have anything. Well, that's good for us. I think the sensors are too important. Like, it's easy to censor something, but more importantly, they smooth out draws. Hey, Goroso114, what is up? Thank you for the follow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We will not put that in the graveyard. We will flip that. We will draw our 7th land, and then we will cast an approach. Yeah, he has not played a Glorybringer yet. That is true. He did play black mana though, so he at least has Scarab God. So opponent played a land and then scooped. Alright, well, we beat our 2 Timur decks 4-0, and we lost to... We beat our 2 good matches, and we lost to our 1 bad match. Let's just keep going and hope to avoid little aggro decks. Or if we do get paired little versus little aggro decks, please at least let it be the red-black build. My theory about beating the red decks is that you have to have as much interaction as possible in the early game. Like, if I sideboard out, maybe with a different build of the deck, but like if I'm sideboarding out these 7 cards and bringing in these 4 cards, I'm just never winning unless I draw one of these. Like, I'm going to lose 100% of the games if I don't draw one of those. But if I lose the majority of the games that I don't draw one of those anyway. Hey, look at our lands. Alright, we'll keep this hand. It's not particularly great. I'm not going to keep that versus a blind opponent. Keep it versus... Oh, great. And we lost to Dice Row versus Mono Red again. Winning the Dice Row versus Mono Red's one of the few things that give us a chance to beat them. It takes 3 things to beat Mono Red. Winning the Dice Row, drawing a 40s in post-board games, and opponents playing not great. That's the 3 keys to beating Mono Red. Consistently. I did not know they gave us new avatars. Where do you get this avatar from? I don't even know where it comes from. But anyway, we lost both Dice Rows versus Mono Red, and so far we've not drawn an authority in either of our sideboard games. And so far our opponent seems like he's played well. Or our previous round opponent. Obviously, we're 2 turns into this game. Have no idea whether this opponent's playing well or not. Yeah, definitely is a big chain of things that have to go right. They give you avatars for playing pre-releases? I might have to play one someday. I pay very little attention to things of that. Opponent drawing well is like the distant fourth, or sorry, opponent drawing poorly is like the distant fourth thing. Like opponents can win even when they draw poorly. So if he has a shock, a land, and a hazard, I am going to be very sad. No, no, I don't. I have no idea what you're talking about. You're talking over my head. Don't you dare kill this Gideon. This Gideon didn't do a damn thing to you. Opponent confirmed a rude ass. Killing this poor little Gideon that didn't do a damn thing to him. Hope somebody rages at me on like Twitch or Twitter or whatever, where they post all that crap when people are like being like mean or whatever. I don't know. It'd be really nice if our opponent would play a Hazard and turn everything sideways. Well, opponent did not play a Hazard, nor did he turn everything sideways. Still don't want to take the 4 damage. We're down to 13, and he's got 3 deserts in play already. So if he has any reasonable follow-up of these last 2 cards, we're going to be frowning. Slash the Talons is reasonable, but like, it's less good versus other matches, right? For like example, you can bring Authority in versus the God Pharaoh's gift decks and stuff like that, but you can't bring the Talons in versus anything else. But Slash of Talons is reasonable. It's actually talking to, oh god no, not another one of those. So we're an effective 4 life now? What is the opponent doing now? Alright. So we're at an effective 1 life. I'm assuming the way the opponent's playing, that means that he clearly has probably another burn spell in his hand to be making these plays. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say, that's bad for me. Well, that's not a burn spell. That does damn near kill me though, doesn't it? Alright, so cycle this sensor. That's fair. I'm actually pretty sure that's what I'm doing right now. If nothing else, I want to actively put a card in my graveyard this turn. So what can we draw that matters? We can draw... We can discard a card and draw an approach off the top. We can draw an approach with this farmland. We can draw... Just draw approach of some kind. Alright, well, I'm banning anything that's not an approach. Island to the graveyard? Heck yes. Cast out. I guess I'm not dead? So you're saying there's a chance? Alright, well, we're down to 2. But more importantly, you're saying there's a chance. Ray didn't even read what? No, I read it. I just didn't read it out loud. Are you an approach? Hey, you're an approach. Alright, it's not over yet, but if we can fade one more draw step, we're looking good. Alright, gotta fade one more draw step. That's because I still don't really know what you're talking about. I don't remember any of that stuff, so I wasn't playing then, or I wasn't paying attention. I have no idea. Alright, this is one we can beat. That's probably game? It's probably game, right? So we're at 7. Approach is 6 cards down. So we can rival it ourselves and then ask Kanta and guaranteed to get it to approach. Alright, we know we win now. He can deal 2 damage, so. F6 value. Give us our approach. Any order. Hey, we stole a game on the play. Pre-board. Field of Runes is such a good card. It's mostly in the deck to like kill Ascantas, but the fact that it can kill Ramunap runes and Legion's landings is pretty ridiculous. And even earlier in a game, there's only 3 approaches in our deck, and we'd put one on the bottom of our deck. Getting to shuffle our library with our Field of Runes was pretty nice that game as well. Anyway, versus Mono Red, again, I don't know how to beat them. Maybe this is sideboarding poorly. But versus Mono Red, I bring in the 8 white cards, and I sideboard out almost all of the blue cards. Like, they're just too slow and they're too reactive. Somebody else mentioned I should take out Sensors, but I really just think Sensors are better than Ascantas, and they're better. I feel like they're better than Glimmers too. Maybe that's wrong, but it seems to me like they're better than both of those spells. Even if it just reads blue cycle, I think it's better than these spells. But the fact that it can sometimes counterspell something. Hey, Jiwan? Jiwan? Is that how you spell your name? Jiwan? Anyway, Jiwan 10. I'll pretend that's how you spell your name, and thank you for the follow. Yeah, they were in fact super flooded, but we'll take what we can get in that bad of a match. So this hand's pretty terrible. If they play 1 drop, 2 drop, 3 drop, we're just dead, but realistically speaking, we only have X amount of small drops anyway. I think I'm going to keep it, but I think it's probably a mulligan. This is probably too loose of a keep. Especially if we see something like a Beaumont Courier on the other side of the board. Wow, I just slurred my speech real bad, by the way. They didn't have a 1-drop, so hopefully we can dodge a 2-drop. So here's another random shock to our face. If that had literally been a 1-mana 1-1, it would have done more damage over the course of this game than a shock. I'm actually going to play this. Hey, Crux Delta, what is the happenings, brah? I say some dumb things when I stream. You're all welcome. I feel bad for my opponent if he doesn't play something this turn. Yeah, I was hoping to cycle one of them. I'll probably get to cycle one of them. He didn't play a 1-drop or a 2-drop though, so I just cycled the cast out. I like how we're still 15 versus our opponent basically doing nothing. Like, opponent did stone nothing, we're still at 15. Yep, I think this is like 105 days or 106 days in a row or something. I am quite burnt out. So we're down to 11. Opponent has 4 points of damage in place, so we're basically at 7. That's fun. We'll counterspell anything that this Supreme Will can counterspell in this board spot. Like, literally anything it can counterspell, I'm going to jump to the high heavens to counterspell. The high heavens is just slightly worse, or slightly higher than the normal heavens. That's probably too sacrilegious to say. Woot, woot. Hey, sweet. We hit a land. I actually kind of wanted that land. Because I wanted to be able to play this into this. And that was our only manner of success. So opponent's going to get to resolve whatever spell he wants to resolve this turn, and we're going to be very sad about it. But we can't take another point, or we can't take another hit of 3, especially when he already has 6 damage in play. He already has 6 damage in play, and one of these in his graveyard with 5 mana on board. 6 mana after that, but alright. The opponent has nothing, we have a chance, I guess. Probably has like a couple lightning strikes or something, which is fine. Lightning strikes are a reasonable sideboard card, or a reasonable card to leave in the main deck. Could just not have anything. That would be pretty awkward if he just stone had nothing. Could be like a Glorybringer too. Glorybringer wouldn't be that bad for us. It would kill the cat and we'd go down to 5, but we'd get to go back to 7 with a Settle the Wreckage up. Sure. That's fine. So we're still at 9. We still have this Settle the Wreckage, so I'm probably just taking this 4. Yeah, I'm just taking this 4. Because, like, if we draw another Regal Caracol or anything, we get to go crazy. That's not a Regal Caracol at all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now we can cycle and leave up Settle the Wreckage. So back to 9, and we got to save all of our creatures. Yeah, it seems like he's drawing pretty unreasonable, or pretty badly rather. Or maybe he wasn't playing pretty badly. Maybe he's had reasonable cards, like maybe he drew these cards over the past 2 turns, I'm not sure. He's not saving a blocker for the cat. So I guess he's willing to concede if he misses. Hey, Androvich, thank you for the follow, man. That's probably pretty close to game. The opponent's down to 1 card in hand. We have a pretty high life total, and we have a Field of Runes now to kill the Ramunap. That's probably game. Probably going to beat the Fabled Mono Red match. Oh. That makes things even easier. Opponent didn't draw a Dino either game. I don't know if he plays on main deck. We have on main deck an air build. Agreed. I used to sideboard out some number of Fumigates in this match all the time, but recently I hadn't been sideboarding them out because I'm so afraid of dinos. This is like the 3rd match in a row that I've just sat here with Fumigates in my hand and they've done nothing. But then again, opponent like literally drew 1,000,000 lands. He drew 11? Plus he could have more in his hand, we don't know. But he at least drew 11. Because he's got 10, 11 plus the 1 we gave him. Alright, well, we at least earned a pity chest. Move on to the next match. Remember, guys, if you like what you're watching today, please click the follow button. And proceed to the links down below the stream to find my Twitter, where you can see every time we go live, all the deck lists we play. And a link to my YouTube, where you can find all of our past leagues that have been broadcast. And if you are already watching on YouTube, keep in mind that in the description of every video, there's a link to both the Twitch, the Twitter, and the deck list we're currently playing. My constructed rating is absolutely trash right now. We tanked it so poorly. I think we're like 1750, maybe 1730. It is absolute trash at the moment. At 1720. It is literal trash at the moment. We tried to play Commander and it did not work out well. The Commander did not work out well at all. We went like 3-9 or something. Sorry, 3-6 or something. And then we had this little streak up here where like we lost 1,000,000 games right there. We were trying an approach list that didn't have Glimmer in it. And then somewhere in here we were trying a red-black list that we were sideboarding improperly. But it was 1900 Monday, if that counts for anything. Doesn't count for much, but yeah, we have tanked it miserably. This hand is it is trash. we normally hover somewhere around like 1830 to 1920, depending on whether we're playing challenges or not. Yeah. When we're playing challenges, we usually hover in the 1900 or the little above 1900 range. When we're playing friendly leagues, we normally hover around like the 1830 to 1850, because you can go, once you hit like 1800, you can go 4-1 in a friendly league and only gain like 3 points or whatever. I think this hand's good enough. Mainly because we're on the play. If we were on the draw, I would mulligan this versus a blind opponent. But we already have a Fumigate, which is extremely powerful, and we have one of our approaches, and the cast-outs are great in some matches, and the matches that they're not great in, we can just cycle on turn 1. This is the lowest end of the range that I keep. Like this is so borderline, it's ridiculous. Alright. Well, we have a bunch of dead cards in our hand then. Opponent played an island, and I got sad. I got sad because this card automatically become much, much worse. We go ahead and throw that over in the corner. And if it's the mirror to Rivel, it's got much worse as well. Ooh, well, that's best card. Hey guys, we just drew best card. Best card. Hey, if he's got a negate, by the way, you're gonna just you would probably literally hit my or hear my hand hit my head as I would be face palming so hard if I got negated there. Alright, whatever. We're gonna cycle too because cycling now saves time, and I like the F6. Ooh, that's pretty good in the mirror. It's not great, but it is pretty good in the mirror. We don't have white mana yet, but that's fine. What do we got here going on? Fumigate to the graveyard as fast as we can. That is not a white mana. Wah, 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 wah. Search for Ascanta is so good in the mirror because ramping in the... But besides what it does with like the flip side of it, just ramping in the mirror is ridiculously good. Like, just ramping in the mirror is so good. Aww. Opponent seems to know that ramping in the mirror is really good too. That's okay. We'll look for our own cast out. Guess what none of these cards are? None of these cards are our own cast out. Emblem of Clock. So our hand's pretty dead now. We're at the mercy of our opponent. Used to, in this match, you couldn't attack with these because you had to play around Blessed Alliance. You do not have to play around Blessed Alliance anymore. Again, ramping in the mirror is good, so I don't mind to play that into a settle. Probably going to lose this game unless we draw another approach. No, don't care about settle. Really just want to draw every land I humanly can. Opponent still has 6 cards in our hand, or in his hand, to our effective 0 though, so this match could definitely go pretty poorly. Opponent has a Rivulet. That's bad for us. There's only 3 approaches in our deck. I didn't want to give him a chance to cast out our approach. Why did our opponent just Rivulet us? Why did our opponent just Rivulet us? Does he have another Rivulet in his hand? I don't believe that to be true at all, George. I don't think counterspells matter in the main. I don't think the counterspells matter in the main at all. Opponent's play is confusing me. So, alright, well, we're in bad shape now. So now we have to find a cast out. And he can get rid of our approach. If he chooses. Really, really, really need to draw a cast out. Or a glimmer. Not saw a cast out and a glimmer in our top 20, or we saw one cast out. We've not saw a glimmer in our top 25. Actually, we Supreme Will twice to the bottom, right? So we've not saw a glimmer in our top 31 cards. Sure. I don't put much stock in Gideon's game 1 at all. Because the matches go long enough that people can always find what they're looking for. I put the cards that I care about game 1 are who hits the first land drops, who draws the most glimmers, and who draws the most cast outs. Which, as you can see, our opponent's drawn 2 glimmers at our 0, which is why we're so far behind. Oh god, and he has a search for Ascanta? Yeah, we can't win. Search for Ascanta, and now a Field of Runes. This game is what I'll refer to as over. Probably have 0 outs now. There's a second approach that does nothing. Opponent milled us for 4, and then didn't mill us for a second 4. Which is just really, really awkward. Means he probably has disallows in his hand or something. Like a second cast out, but I assume this game's already over. If I wasn't on stream, I'd probably scoop this game. Because I'm not the type of person that likes to spend 10 minutes waiting for a fin out. Our Gideon literally does nothing here, though. Like... So whenever he casts this, we're going to try to get lucky and we're just going to mill 12 cards and hope we hit all the approaches. If he's got a second one in his hand, we definitely just lose. We have no outs anyway, though. So we have to try to get super lucky. Rip. We did not hit approaches. Well, we hit 2. Maybe he doesn't have the third in his hand. Right on time, Glimmer. Right on time, friend. neither of these cards do much right now, I guess. We'll keep the cast out, but it doesn't do a whole lot. Because I assume he probably just has the other approach in his hand, or he'll have a Supreme Will or something. Let's see what he gets. Our Gideon had absolutely no impact on this game, though. Maybe there's some world where he doesn't have the other approach, or like it's on the bottom of his deck or something. Who knows? He's not just killing me, so he should at least use this right now. Probably has another cast out or a counter spell, but who knows? If he doesn't have to cast out or a counter spell, the odds of him hitting one are incredibly high with that. Yeah. But yeah, as I was saying, like, our Gideon just doesn't matter. We're not controlling enough to make the Gideons matter game 1. Game 2, the Gideons matter quite a lot. But the Glimmers and the Search for Ascanthus are all that matters game 1. He's tapping mana in his upkeep, which means he probably drew it. Yeah, but like you're missing the point. It's irrelevant that we died on this turn. We can't beat the card advantage. Like, you're gonna tell me you don't think he's played? You're gonna tell me that you don't think that he has all the answers because of the cards that he drew? Like, there's 13 cards left in his deck. He can cycle through with this as much as he wants. Like, he's seen every card in his deck. Like, the cards that matter are the cards that let you draw more cards. I would attack with a Gideon again. I think Gideon means nothing game 1 when you're that far behind. I think Fumigates are better than Settles. I don't think Fumigates are particularly good at all. Opponent didn't attack because opponent was ahead. Like, the opponent was massively ahead. He didn't have to try to make things happen. This hand's pretty terrible. We'll keep it. Probably have to cycle to cast out and not be happy about it. Yeah, the Cats can definitely win games in this match. Especially if your opponent's going to sideboard things out. Hello, Dynasty of Gamer. Anything that pressures mana is what you want in this match, right? There's a Gideon. I do think Gideons are good in game 2. I think you have enough negates and stuff that you can actually fight cast out wars in game 2. I'm running 3 search, 2 field of rune. He can't resolve anything that I care about other than search, which he can just resolve anyway. Like, we only had one counter spell, so like any like negate or Jace's defeat plus a search would have got it through. I'm casting this card instead of playing the Glimmer because if we just play Glimmer, we have to discard the hand size on the next turn. If we also don't play Gideon then. So I would just rather play it on this turn. I always like playing a spell on the turn that they have 4 mana up. Because them not casting a Glimmer is pretty huge for you. I will not protect this. And that's a cat, which is unfortunate. I don't think I want you. I do think I want you. So if my opponent not attacking Gideon with a Gideon was proof that I was wrong for attacking with mine, can the same be said that I was right to bring in Cat because opponent brought in Cat? I just don't think it works like that, but I do think Cat's good in this match. I do think Cat's very good in this match. It like makes you play the game in a different manner. Which you just never mind to do. It's not necessarily so much that the cat's good, it's that you have to respect your opponent bringing in cats, right? So like between leaving in a fumigate, leaving in a settle, and leaving in a cat, like the cat's the one that can win while being as good as the other two versus an opponent's cat. So like it's just the fact that it's basically a Wrath of God versus them. You don't ever actually think you're going to win a game with it unless like opponent has a completely miserable draw or whatever. It's just like if my opponent's going to bring in Regal Caracol, and I think he might bring in Regal Caracol, why do I want to fumigate in my deck when I can just bring in my own Regal Caracol and block his? Glyph Keeper could be interesting. I've been thinking about Glyph Keeper a lot recently. Um, I think the Glyph Keeper would give me a larger win percentage versus Blue Black if I could resolve them. I don't know that I can resolve them in that match. This is probably his Gideon. Yeah, 3 mana for Gideon. Couldn't think of many other things that he was going to play in his main phase. He wants to counterspell this Glimmer, that's fine. sucks if it's a sensor, but if we get any other counterspell, it's pretty good. We'll put the land on the bottom and Azcanta on top. Oh, hello, third negate. I hear third negate's the good negate. Like how we literally have almost nothing in our graveyard. This card's probably good enough to force a fight. Our negate looks like it's literally just like absolutely wrecking. Hey, we got to put a bunch of cards in our graveyard. Gotta be honest, I was not counting how many turns it's been since we played Search, or since we played our approach. It's a good thing Moto lets us cheat. So we played it on turn 7. We're going into turn 8, or turn 10, so 8, 9, 10. If we... So I think it's 3 cards down now? That's kind of interesting. I don't think I have to play it this turn. Oh, I cast a Glimmer? Yeah, like I said, I wasn't paying attention this game. I normally ride it, but I was not paying attention this game. Sure. Sure. That's one of the reasons that I didn't want to use it now. So there's a filter rune. Filter rune in my own graveyard? Sure. I want to at least be able to pay for a Supreme Will. Could have filter runed his field of rune, but I'm happy just milling myself with the search for Azcanta. Just never tapping my mana, because if he has, he could have like a disallow or something, and I don't really feel like fighting that war. It might have been a play mistake. That's the one thing I've done so far this match that I've not felt super confident in. Yeah, it does not particularly feel great how I could have kept the filter rune maybe. Oh, there's another Gideon. Sure, you can resolve other Gideon. So opponent can attack now if he wants. Four cards in opponent's hand still. It doesn't have to be two counters. It could be like another cast out in one counter, right? Could be a Supreme Will. Could be bad counter spells. Well, if he's counterspelling that, we're in a lot better shape than I thought we were in. He's counterspelling that, we're in a lot better shape than I thought we were in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I am going to flip Dascanta this turn, so we have 10 mana. Actually, I'm not going to flip Dascanta this turn. Just going to draw my 10th mana because it's a good mana anyway. We had to search for Azcanta going and everything. Like, we just don't have to risk anything. It's kind of like I was saying game one. Like, we drew a bunch of Glimmers. We drew a search for Azcanta. We didn't have to do anything. We were always going to have more cards and more answers. Like, that's what the match revolves around. Like, we played one more Glimmer than our opponent, and we hit an Azcanta, and our opponent didn't. After that, the game was just trivial. It didn't matter what he drew as long as he didn't draw those cards he could not catch back up. So we know our opponent has Regal Caracols in his deck, and drawing 2 Regal Caracols is pretty brutal. So it kind of makes me want to bring the Fumigates in over the Cats. Just don't think I want to play that war. On the draw. On the play, I think it's much better, but on the draw, I do not like it. It's probably a mistake. The Cats can pressure Gideons, which is another reason that they're kind of good, but I try to be more of a control deck on the draw. This hand's reasonable. It's not very good. This is like the one match that I sideboard differently on the play and on the draw. Second Fumigate. Already feel punished for not having Cats in the deck. Get your ass over there, second Fumigate. Get your ass over there and don't bother me, you second Fumigate. Not going to cycle the Censor. Not until we're about to miss a land drop anyway. There's nothing that I would have played on this turn that I could have drawn in the entire deck, so I might as well keep the Censor in case it has some miracle relevance. I could have censored that, for example, but I don't think it's worth censoring that. I would censor a Glimmer. Censoring a Glimmer's fine. I don't normally counterspell card draw spells unless it's a card as weak as like Censor that's doing it. Alright. It's the second Supreme Will going from our opponent. Sorry if you can hear all the clicking. Alright, so that's something we have to try to fight for. Certainly just about using a gate. Definitely, certainly just about using a gate there. So I think this spot's kind of interesting. If he has Torrential Gearhulk, casting Glimmer's super bad. But we do need to hit the land, so... If he has the Gearhulk, we're just sad. I have a bad habit to do that when I'm streaming, just like not look at my hand and like have it tunneled in my mind. Like, in my mind, he was going to cast a negate because I don't play Disallow. I wasn't thinking about negate. But, can't get rid of a negate even if we do need to land. So, like, in my mind, like, he was going to cast a negate, so I'd already had it in my head that he was going to have 3 mana untapped. It's, like, really hard for me to catch those plays. But we're not in the best shape right now. Opponent is getting ready to cast, hopefully, the first approach if he feels like it. You know what they say about the first approach? Yeah, no, I was halfway through tapping my mana, but I was like, wait a minute, that's not a negate, that's a disallow. That means he tapped 3 mana. Derp. So it's actually interesting whether you counterspell to approach or not. What's up, Boot? Oh, by the way, hello, Pumni1995. I don't think I noticed you before. If you know that they're only playing 3 approaches, it's fine to counterspell the first approach. Yes, it doesn't stop them from winning if they cast a second one, but it makes it considerably harder for them to get a second one. Now, when you don't know whether they're playing 3, 4, or 2 of this card, it's not worth counterspelling, I don't think. So we're just going to keep working on our land. And we're going to make a mark and actually keep up with our opponent and see where he's at. What are you into today, Boot? Hope you're having a quality little day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But it puts you on a back foot. The person who casts the first approach is on such a favorite. Like, they are so far ahead of the curve once they've resolved the first approach. Just woke up. Oh, wait. Oh, my God. It's just 11:40 a.m. Why did I think it was the middle of the night? My sleep schedule is so screwed up. That one's a little annoying. Can't do nothing about it, really, but my day's going apparently terrible if I thought it was the middle of the night. I thought my day was going great. Ouch. They're missing a land drop, though, and them missing the land drop is huge. Irrigated farmlands to the graveyard? Sure, I don't want a tap land. I wouldn't have minded an untap land, but I certainly don't want a tap land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, we're just going to cast Fumigate then. If they have Spell Pierce, it's bad, but if they don't have Spell Pierce, it's fine. Yeah, I'm East Coast, so we know their approach is 6 cards down now. I don't think Spell Pierce should be in the sideboard of these decks, so like maybe I'm not respecting the Spell Pierce when I should. We now know it's 5 cards down. We now get to flip Dice Canto if we want. For some reason I just thought it was the middle of the night. It's kind of like dark outside here. Negate to the graveyard. That's kind of interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think it's worth putting it in the graveyard. Just because I want to flip Dice Canta. Flipping Dice Canta lets me be able to cast a Torrential Gearhulk while having negate back up, which is the main reason I wanted to play it. But if you notice in this game, we drew 2 glimmers and a search, and we've just been ahead of our opponent most of the game. Mainly because I want to cast this gear hook. I think it's worth. It's probably not worth it still. Alright, that's fine. You can have your glimmer. Could just make our opponent shuffle their deck with the filter room, but that's probably not good either. I like knowing he's going to draw it, especially if we think we have a hand that we can beat it. So what do? He put on top, bottom, and then he drew 2, so that's 3 cards, so it's down to 2, so it's on the top card of his library after he draws for his turn. So his approach is now the top card of his library. Unless we mess up the math somewhere. I'm going to cast a Torrential Gearhulk this turn. Hopefully he'll use some of his counter spells. Man, how good would Wiccan be, or how good would Quicken be in this format? I want something to start pressuring his life total with is while we're trying to cast this. I actually think I'm willing to use a negate on it, but I don't know. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Probably not willing to use the negate then. Alright. It uses up our permission too, though. And he has every negate left in his deck, and we've already used one. It's kind of odd. Alright, so we'll negate here. I'd be fearful to not get millstoned. I wanted to save enough mana to be able to use the Ascanta. Maybe the Ascanta wasn't worth it, but I thought the Ascanta was pretty valuable there. Island in my graveyard? How many lands do we have? So we have 3, 2, 3. Alright, island goes to the graveyard. We will not flip it. I'm down to 6 minutes now, though, so I guess I just need to play faster in general. If he tries to counterspell this, I'll censor his counterspell. How many good spells are we going to get to censor? If you grab the Rivulet, we cannot grab the Rivulet with Ascanta. It's only non-creatures. Or sorry, it's only spells. We've not cast the first approach yet. We have not played an approach yet this game. We will not put that in our graveyard. If we'd cast an approach, we would. That's a play we would jump to do, but we've not played an approach this game yet. I find it funny that our opponent's cycling to find lands, and that would leave us shieldless at that point. Go ahead and cycle this. Uh, just don't want cards like that at the moment. We want high impact cards. Actually, probably going to take this second cast out. The approach can go to the bottom. Nope, we won't put that in our graveyard. Nope, we won't flip. Oh, we're going to have to discard some cards this turn. This didn't work out real well. We were kind of hoping to hit a land, but... Hey, MK Lamb, what's up? Guess we'll get rid of it and one of the cast outs then. I put a premium on most of the other cards in our hand. There's like a decent chance that we can win this game with the Gear Hulk, but like we need to be making some moves. There's only one more negate left in our deck, so. Really just wanting to find that other negate? Don't want out of review. You're not negates. Yes, no. Alright, we gotta start being careful with our cards now, too. Actually, just attacking him. It's a 3-turn clock. I will not protect this clock, by the way, but we have a second Gideon in our hand, so. It's not as important, but it is still kind of important. Next turn we'll be casting a Fumigate. Or sorry, we'll be casting an Approach next turn. Like he's down to 2 cards in his hand. The Field of Rune's pretty good, but we have a backup Ascanto already. I'd rather play this one. I'm willing to keep several different cards. Go ahead and tap it for land. Bottom. Bottom. I'm not playing perfectly at the moment. I am just kind of trying to play fast. Second negate, right on cue. So now he doesn't have enough cards to win. Yeah, we're down to 3 minutes though, and I have bad internet or whatever. You just never know. I'd rather be safe. Could have 3 interactive spells too, like this approach doesn't have to resolve. One of them will probably resolve. So we have enough mana now for 2 negates and a Supreme Will? Alright. Well, casual 4-0, lost to mono red. We beat 2 Timur decks, a mono red deck, and a blue white deck. Or an Amir. We are still undefeated versus blue white approach this entire season. Hey, thank you for the follow, Elmora and Hackle 123. But yeah, the cards that matter are really just this card and this card. Game 1, where you don't have hard counter spells, you cannot protect the Gideons. Game 2 and 3, you can very much protect the Gideon. Like, if you don't have this stuff going, you're not going to find enough of these to win those wars. So, like, you just have to take stupid risks on those. Like, I was hoping to be able to kill him by attacking. I did not think I could kill him with an approach game 1. This list feels pretty good. It's still weak versus mono red. I still have no idea how to beat mono red. I feel like it's going to be weak versus the blue black decks that have Glint Siphoner in the sideboard. I have no idea how to really fix that either. Maybe Slash of Talons, but then like, are you really going to sideboard Slash of Talons in versus blue black control just to beat their Glint Siphoner? Probably not. But like, you can't beat them in any other manner. So, I don't really know. It's like weird. But anyway, that's going to do it for us today, and we're going to find somebody to host. Probably won't be that many people streaming. Yeah, you can't beat every deck, but like I do want to beat mono red and I do want to beat Timur. Those are the 2 important decks to beat, because like if you can beat mono red and you can beat Timur, you beat like 40 to 50% of every field without even thinking. PTQ. Everybody's playing the PTQ. Well, I'm going to go get some food and then watch the top 8 of Eternal Weekend, but I do not know who to host since it doesn't seem like anybody's playing Standard. Everybody's playing the PTQ. Ah, here we go. Somebody's playing Abzan Tokens. We like Abzan Tokens, so we will host a guy playing Abzan Tokens. But anyway, thank you guys for all stopping by. Make sure you click the follow button so you can see me every time I go live. And there's a link down below the stream to both my Twitter, where you can find all the deck lists we play every time we go live, and a link to my YouTube, where you can find all of our past leagues. And if you're watching from the YouTube, make sure to click the follow over there as well, because it helps promote the channel. And on the YouTube itself, keep in mind that in the description of every video, there's a link to a deck list and a link to both my Twitch chat and my Twitter. But anyway, so we're going to host this Abzan player, and we're going to get out of here, and we'll do our best to be back tomorrow as usual. Take care, everybody.